We live in a time with constant distractions from our phone, from people around us, and from the stresses of life. But almost a century ago, a Soviet psychologist stumbled upon a principle of the mind that shows us exactly how to stay locked in on what matters for long periods of time. And the best part is, you can still use it to this day. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down what they learned from the experiments they did and how we can implement it into our own productivity systems and life in general to be maximally focused, maximally disciplined, and maximally driven to do the things we set ourselves. Let's get into it. Hello, I'm Dylan, I'm 18. I coach professionals and entrepreneurs who have big ambitions and aspirations, but simply falter in procrastination. I don't coach lazy people. I coach people who don't have a system for their ambition. I personally spent over 5,000 hours or 210 days straight wasting any potential I had on Call of Duty and other such video games. However, I turned it all around and now I effortlessly and easily reach through large banks for my work, for my business, for my education, and for my personal development goals, and I'm helping others do the same with my business, this YouTube channel, and the efforts I'm putting towards teaching people like you how to finally become productive. If that sounds interesting, subscribe. But what is the Zeigarnik Effect? It's the idea that the brain psychologically, neurobiologically works in open and closed loops. You've ever had that time when you start something and you're itching to finish it, whether it be an episode on YouTube, a task of work you've been doing, maybe even learning something random during the day. That is the Zeigarnik Effect, your brain motivating you to finish the task and close the loop. Because essentially when that loop closes, the brain releases dopamine, it feels good, and it's another load taken away from the brain, allowing up space for you to move on to something else. And this psychological glitch per se is something we can completely hijack. If we rig our day in a way that it keeps the loop open, then the brain will keep motivating us to do the task, keeping us productive. Writers use this the best way. People writing a book, when they finish their workday, they need to go to bed, they need to close off their writing session, they never full stop. And the reason is because again of that open and closed loop, when they full stop, the brain goes, it's closed, and it forgets. It sees it as metabolic waste, moves it into the subconscious, and then the next day when they come back to continue writing from where they left off, they struggle to get going and get back into that flow state of work because they've closed the loop. Whereas if they leave it open-ended and they don't full stop, they don't close the paragraph, the next day when they come to sit down, they can effortlessly and easily dive back into where they were before because the brain still has it running in the background per se. So that's exactly what we want. And the biggest way we can hijack this is with a to-do list. In your planner, you'll plan your days, and during the day, as you look to your to-do list and you realize that you're halfway through, you'll be more motivated to finish it because the brain wants to close the macro loop of the to-do list. And also, when you're inside the task, for example, recording 5 videos, when you hit video 1 or 2 and you want to break, you're procrastinating, you're faltering in this lack of productivity, your brain motivates you to continue the task, continue recording the videos to reach the end so you can get the dopamine reward of ticking off the task on the to-do list. It's a simple, basic trick that has been used for centuries to guarantee productivity. Open the loop of the day's tasks and you will be running them in the background. You'll be motivating yourself more to complete the tasks, to close the loop of the day and close the loop of the tasks by ticking them off one by one by one. Just before we get into the rest of this video, I have a unique opportunity for you. See, everyone and myself used to run these long-term coaching packages, but for a limited time, with limited spots, the pinned comment on this video will take you to a one-to-one meeting with myself. It's just 50 minutes, but in those 50 minutes, I'm guaranteeing I will solve or give solution to the productivity issue you have. And if I don't, I'll refund you the full amount with no hard feelings. Check it out if you're interested, but enjoy the rest of this video. Thanks. And the second way you can use this trick is to improve your creative productivity. You start maybe writing a business plan, writing a content script, writing something creative per se, and then you pause midway through. You take a break, you go on a wander, you go outside, you do something completely separate, And because the open loop is still there, the brain in the background is running through and mulling over that task, breaking it down, so the next time you come back to sit down, you have a flurry of new ideas that you would have never come to before, because your brain has been running it in the background. Using this open loop as a method of productivity to generate new ideas that you can actually implement is so useful. The next actionable step is to start just 1%. And the idea is that when you open the loop, your brain craves to close it. Like we spoke about earlier, dopamine's flowing, you want the reward of closing the loop and removing it from the forefront of your brain. So how do we get that motivation? And it's just by starting 1%. You need to record 5 videos, just simply pressing record and allow it to run for just a second will motivate you to get going. If you need to write a document, just simply writing the title is enough to open the loop inside of the brain. Same with business plans, same with planning your day, same with any task that you need to complete. Just starting 1% will open the loop and allow you to complete it 10 times more effectively because your brain is craving to close it. Simple, effective, productive tactic. Furthermore, pair it with a friction-based tactic. So the idea is there's 2 people. They both need to do work on the laptop. One has their laptop closed in a different room, the other person has their laptop open with the documents, resources, tabs, etc. open, ready for them to work on. Who's going to do the work 9 times out of 10? And of course it's the latter, the person who has less friction of getting into the work, and they also have the Zeigarnik Effect activated because when they open the tab, say for example you are researching something and you have the tab open for that thing that you've been skim reading and you need to finish. If you go away from the task, you procrastinate, and then you look back on your computer, the tab being open symbolizes the loop open also. So you need to finish the task and then your brain will kick into action and most of the time allow you to finish completing that research-based task until the tab is closed and the loop is closed also. So how can we pair this together is by opening the resources at the start of the day until you've finished with them. Never close the thing you're working on because your brain will keep it ticking in the back and then you'll end up completing it by the end of the day because your brain wants to close that loop. And it'll make it easier for you to get back into the work, etc. because the tabs and resources are there waiting to be completed. The final piece of advice I'd like to give you around the Zeigarnik Effect is planning in hours or days during your week to catch up on incompleted tasks. See, people burn out because they have too many loops open. Burnout is so common when you have lingering tasks around you that you know you need to be doing, your brain's motivating you to do, but you're simply being spread thin across all of the tasks. How do we counteract this? And it's by scheduling time to complete these incomplete tasks. Scheduling time to get them done and finally close the loop to give your brain that closure it needs to finally remove it from taking up your cognitive load. So simply put, in your diary, in your planner, etc., 1 day a week, just schedule in some time to review and complete incomplete tasks to prevent yourself from burning out in the long run because you simply have too many loops open. But that was it. That was the advice I'd give you on the Zeigarnik Effect and how you can utilize this psychological glitch to maintain productivity all day. Thank you for watching. Subscribe.